getting a lot of rest is very important. Make sure that you are sleeping a lot, resting a lot, not on your feet, not trying to do too much, okay? I don't care what you got to do. I don't care if you're supposed to be going back to work, you got school, whatever. Tell your professors, tell your job, tell them that you need to rest, because I promise you, you need to rest, and you don't need to be stressed out about nothing else if you have COVID. And even if you don't have COVID, make sure you're getting your rest and make sure you're getting your sleep. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nateya and welcome to Naesthetics, bringing you content that is aesthetic, authentic, and all about activism. So today we're going to be talking about none other than COVID-19. So I really wanted to make this video because health equity is something that's very important to me, and I feel like especially during this pandemic we have been seeing disproportionate rates and cases among COVID in BIPOC communities, and I really wanted to bring awareness to that and also bring resources to those who may need it, because as a person who did have COVID, I feel like it's very difficult to figure out what to do when you do have it, and resources to build your immune system, because nobody really tells you anything since there's no cure for it at the moment. But yeah, I just wanted to be a resource and bring more information about COVID. Today we're going to be talking about my experience with COVID, how I got it, when I got it, stuff like that. And then also some resources for you if you do have it, or even if you don't have it, things that you can do, things you can incorporate in your diet, and just things you can incorporate in your daily life, just in case you do end up getting it, or if you don't have it, then these are things you can do to build up your immune system. First of all, starting off when I got COVID. So I got COVID in October, the very beginning of October. I tested positive for COVID, and I did absolutely nothing to get it. Like many times you hear stories about people going out partying, things like that. I literally was at home and I got it. So it's still very possible to get it even if you don't go anywhere. And to explain that, basically one of my parents, they ended up getting COVID from some people at their job, and they brought it back home, which ended up making me have it as well. So once I got COVID and I tested positive for it, the symptoms slowly got worse. So I would say that clear my throat. I would say that first the symptoms started off with just like a sore throat. I will say that I never had a fever at all, and other symptoms were like cough, congestion, very bad fatigue. I will say that when I had it, it's very difficult to do anything or feel like doing anything. I slept for so much and rested for so much while I had COVID, and I'll get into that it's very important to rest, but it's like you feel so tired and fatigued like that you can't do anything. So yeah, I was fatigued, sore throat, cough. I did lose my sense of smell, and my taste sense was not as heightened as it was. I didn't lose it completely, but my sense of taste did go away a little bit. I did have body aches as well. I had headaches, but I will say the main symptoms were just like the fatigue, the cough where I could feel it in my lungs, and the headaches, I think, were the things that bothered me the most, along with the losing my sense of smell. And I will say the recovery process for me was 2 weeks. So it took me 2 entire weeks to recover, and you don't have to get another test after you've had it, but I decided to get another test because I wanted to travel, and I planned on traveling to see someone, and I planned on visiting friends and stuff like that. So I wanted to get tested to make sure that I was negative and I wasn't spreading it to other people. So exactly 2 weeks later, after I tested positive, I went and got tested again, and I tested negative. So I will say, even though like me explaining it doesn't sound like, oh, it's that bad, it's a lot worse than you think. Like, it's not just a heightened version of the flu. Like, I've had the flu before, you know, I've had a cold before. Usually when you have the flu or you have a cold, it usually lasts about 1 or 2 days. You might not go to work or school for 1 or 2 days, but this, a whole 2 weeks. You have to, like, at least for me, at least for people who have symptoms, a whole 2 weeks. You gotta go without, you know, going anywhere. And usually, at least for me, where I am, the health department calls you and tells you to quarantine for a certain amount of days. They say after 10 days, you're no longer contagious, but you still may have symptoms, which was me. And there are lingering effects after you do have COVID. Like, I still have a cough. You know, my lungs are getting better for sure, but there are lingering effects. But I will say that I am a lot better now that it's been a month since I've had it. So now we're going to get into what you can do and different resources that I'll be linking in the description box to help with your immune system and also help if you do have COVID. So I wrote a lot of notes so that I don't forget anything, just because there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to share. And I will say as a disclaimer that I am not a physician or a professional anything, so this is just my personal advice. Take it as you want, do your own research, but you know, I am not a professional at all. So I really think that this COVID, dealing with COVID, is a physical, mental, and spiritual battle. Okay, you know, you have to cater to all three of those things if you do have COVID or if you don't have COVID in order to fight against this. So first of all, in the case that you do have it, I do recommend taking like cough medicine and stuff like that just to like help your symptoms. It's not going to get rid of COVID, but you know, if you're feeling miserable, if your throat is hurting really bad, you're having a really bad cough, you know, do take some cough medicine or some Tylenol or whatever that you need according to whatever symptoms you have. So I will say, you know, take those things, but it's not going to cure COVID. You know, like when you have the flu and, you know, you take the Mucinex and usually like it clear you out within the next day. Like, it's not going to do that. It's just going to help your symptoms a little bit. But I definitely recommend taking medicine. So now, tips for everyone. So we're going to start off with the physical things that you can do. First thing that I recommend is light physical activity, okay? When you have COVID, it's going to be difficult to want to move around and do things like that, but if you can get in light physical activity for at least 10 to 15 minutes, you know, 3 times a week, I feel like that is good and it'll get your body moving. And number 2, also sunlight. Sunlight is very important, and it's also, vitamin D is good for our immune systems as well. So a lot of us are in the house and we're not getting a lot of sunlight at all. So when you have COVID, you know, you don't have to go anywhere, but you can step outside your house, or you can, you know, open the shade on your window or something like that. You know, get some sunlight, get some vitamin D. And I know that there are vitamin D supplements, especially coming to a time where depression is higher during this season when it's colder outside. I know a lot of people take vitamin D supplements, so I definitely recommend taking those, and they're also an energy booster as well. So other things I suggest is eating clean. So for me, like, I try to eat as clean as possible and eat at least 3 meals a day. I actually like started eating like a more like vegan/vegetarian diet once I found out I got COVID. Try to eat as clean as possible. And another thing I would say is drink a lot of water. Staying hydrated is key, and you really need to drink a lot of water in order to combat the fatigue and the tiredness and things like that. And just in general, like every day, even if you don't have COVID, you need to be drinking a lot of water. Like, it's very important for our skin and our health and all of that. And even if you don't have COVID, I still recommend eating clean. You don't have to go vegan or vegetarian, but at least eat cleaner and have a cleaner diet. Another thing that I would recommend, let me look at my notes. So tea. I highly recommend drinking tea. So I started drinking this Echinacea Plus tea, and I'll put it on the screen. But it's an organic tea. It's non-caffeinated, so it doesn't give you any energy or anything like coffee does, so you can drink it in the morning, at night, whenever. So if you don't have COVID, I recommend drinking maybe like, you know, this tea maybe 3 times, 4 times a week. But if you do have COVID, I definitely recommend drinking this tea like maybe 3 times a day. And on the box it says like how many cups you can drink, and they have all different types of tea. So the ones that I highly recommend are elderberry, because elderberry is really good for the immune system. So they have an elderberry tea. They have a tea that has spearmint, which is supposed to support immune function. And they have another one with turmeric and ginger. Turmeric and ginger are also 2 things that are really good for your immune system. And if you are like drinking more water, I would suggest that, you know, you can put ginger in your water, or turmeric in your water, or even lemon in your water. So yeah, those are the teas I recommend. They also have a peppermint tea, which is really good for your digestive system. So I really recommend this brand, and they have a lot of organic teas that are good for your immune system. So like, I think the elderberry tea, I remember it said you can drink up to like 6 cups a day. You don't have to drink that much, but I personally didn't drink that much, but I recommend half of that just for me, because I personally wouldn't feel like drinking that much tea in a day. And plus the tea, because it's just herbs and water, that also helps you get a lot of your water in for the day. So tea, definitely get some tea whether you have COVID or not, because it'll be good for your immune system regardless. Okay, so earlier I recommended turmeric and ginger. So especially if you lose your sense of smell and your taste, I recommend doing a respiratory boil steam. So basically you boil orange, lemon, ginger, turmeric, cinnamon. You can look up different recipes, but that's what I blended together. I boiled orange, lemon, ginger, turmeric, cinnamon bark, and I think that was it. Yeah, so I boiled that on the stove with water, and then once it was boiling, I took it off the stove and I placed a towel over my head, and then I just breathed in the water that's hot. And it really helps, like, especially if you're congested or if you have a cough and if you lost your sense of smell and your taste, it really helps to open up your system and your respiratory system. So I highly recommend that. And there, like I said, there are different recipes for respiratory steams, and you can look them up. You can simply Google or search on YouTube like respiratory steam boil or whatever, something like that, and some recipes will come up. So, you know, if you do have COVID and if you do have symptoms of just your sense of smell is gone, or if you have symptoms of congestion, I highly recommend doing a respiratory steam maybe once a day, or you can do it and you can reuse the water as well. Like, you don't have to just throw away the water as soon as you're done with it. And as well, you can also add essential oils to the water if you want to. Like, eucalyptus oil is really good for your lungs and opening up, you know, your senses. So if you want to add that, you can do that. But if you want to drink the water, I would say don't add the essential oils, because then you won't be able to drink it. So for me, like with the respiratory steam, I didn't add any essential oils, but I did use the water for tea afterwards. So, you know, getting all the nutrients from the oranges, the turmeric, the ginger, the lemon, I put that in a cup for tea. So yeah, that's another thing that you can do. So another thing I would say is adding superfoods to your diet. For me, I started learning a lot about sea moss recently. Sea moss has like 90 something, I think it's like 92 of the 100 and something nutrients that our body needs, and it's just really packed with a lot of nutrients. And I ended up ordering some from a black-owned business called Say It Ain't Vegan, and I'll actually put the link to that in the description box as well. But the recommendation for sea moss is just 1 to 2 teaspoons daily, and it doesn't taste like much, and it's very mushy. So you can put it in anything. You can put it in a smoothie, you can put it in your tea, you can put it in applesauce, you know, you can put it in yogurt, whatever. So you can get your 1 to 2 teaspoons or tablespoons. I think it's teaspoons actually. One of the two. You can put that into your food and incorporate it to your diet very easily. And also, sea moss is very good for mucus. So if you have a lot of mucus, then it'll help with that as well. So I highly recommend sea moss. Another one is moringa powder, which is so disgusting. Moringa powder is like this green powder that has a lot of nutrients, and it's good for your immune system as well. And you can blend it just like the sea moss in your tea and your yogurt and whatever, but like you gotta be real careful with it because it's nasty. Okay, it'll make your food taste like dirt. So I will say, you know, use little by little, and it's not really a recommended amount for the moringa powder. It doesn't say how much to use, so it's kind of like a vegetable where you can use or eat as much as you like, but it's not good. Okay, it's not good. But I highly recommend it though. And another thing, going back to the sea moss, don't buy the sea moss on Amazon. At least when I looked on Amazon at the sea moss, like a lot of it looks a little suspect. Okay, the sea moss that I got is from a black-owned business, and of course, you know me always supporting black-owned businesses. It was very high quality, and I liked the sea moss that I got. A few last things talking about physical resources for your physical body. So I would say getting a lot of rest is very important. Make sure that you are sleeping a lot, resting a lot, not on your feet, not trying to do too much, okay? I don't care what you got to do. I don't care if you're supposed to be going back to work, you know, you got school, whatever. Tell your professors, tell your job, tell them that you need to rest, because I promise you, like, you need to rest, and you don't need to be stressed out about nothing else if you have COVID. And even if you don't have COVID, make sure you're getting your rest and make sure you're getting your sleep, because it's important. Take your vitamins, okay? I know some of us, I know me, I wasn't always taking a daily vitamin. I used to when I was younger, but not as much anymore. So make sure you're taking a daily vitamin that's good for immune support, or just a daily vitamin in general. It don't have to be anything special. And then last, I think that for me, because I have a juicer here at home, if you can, definitely juice fresh fruits. So like I would take oranges, lemon, ginger, what else would I take? Apples, and mix it together in the juicer, turn it into juice, and I would drink it. But you know, if you don't have a juicer, you can just incorporate those fruits into your diet. You know, just eat some oranges, or you can you know, put lemon in your water, or you can put the ginger in your water, whatever that you want to do. So it's a lot of different ways to incorporate those things into your diet. Now we are going to move on to the mental and spiritual resources. Like I said earlier, this is a physical, mental, and spiritual battle, okay? You can't just do the physical and not do the mental and the spiritual, okay? You got to do all three in order to keep your sanity, and in order to recover, and just in order to feel balanced, you know? So first thing that I recommend, and I know that everyone doesn't do this, but I would recommend burning sage. For me, burning sage, you know, I set an intention of why I'm burning this sage. If you don't know what sage is, you know, you can burn it in order to like cleanse the energy, remove negative energy from different places or different objects, things like that. So I ordered some sage online. I know that everyone doesn't order their sage online, and they kind of like to get the energy of the people that they're ordering the sage from. But because I couldn't do that, I ordered it online, and it was fine. Ordered it on Amazon, and I can leave the link. It was some white sage. But basically, you know, I just set the intention of, you know, removing the negative energy from the house, since, you know, I was living in a household, 3 people had COVID, including myself. So just removing the negative energy, and trying to remove the negative energy of COVID out of our house. And I also think it's very important to disinfect your house consistently too, or wherever you're staying at, if you have COVID. And Lysol and Clorox and stuff like that, it's not really good for our lungs. So if it is like some natural, if it is like some natural cleaning products that you can find, I would definitely recommend those that are that are still quality and like disinfectant, but they're natural. Because spraying Lysol and having Clorox and all that other stuff in the house, like that stuff, that mess with your nose and lungs. It's really not good for you. But I wasn't able to, use any natural products at this time, but I do want to make the transition eventually as well. And speaking of natural products, I guess I could have put this in the physical resources, but I would say, also using natural stuff on your body. Like for me, I started using natural deodorant back in March just because I wanted to switch over, and I've been wanting to switch over for a long time. I use natural body wash. I use natural products on my face. Like I use a lot of natural stuff for my body, and some stuff that we use on our bodies, even if it do smell good, it probably got a lot of toxins in it, or even like with aluminum in the deodorant. So I would recommend getting products for your body that are more natural stuff. Okay, now back to the mental and spiritual stuff. So next thing I would recommend is diffusing essential oils. So I have a diffuser here and I love it. I diffuse oils, I think, every night or every other night. Eucalyptus is really good, to open up your respiratory system and your lungs. Peppermint is good. Tea tree oil is good. Lemongrass, lavender helps you relax. So I would recommend that because it's good for your senses, and then it also just helps you relax as well. Essential oils are really good, and there's so many of them that you can get. Next thing I would say is do some yoga. Yoga is good for your lungs too, and I've been doing yoga more and more. So just like, how you do the deep breath when you do yoga, like I feel that in my lungs. And how COVID, it does affect your lungs. I feel like yoga is really good, first of all, for relaxation, and it's just good overall to relax your mind. So, and there's also a lot of different yoga videos on YouTube. So for me, I have a couple bed yoga videos that I follow. So you don't even have to leave your bed to do it. And I can link some of those in the description box as well. So along with yoga, I would say meditation too. There's so many different meditations on YouTube, and even the yogi that I follow on YouTube, she has meditations as well. She has a 30-day meditation challenge, and I love her channel. I think her name is Ariana Elizabeth, and yeah, I will definitely link her in the description box. But definitely recommend meditation as well, just to still your mind, and just to, because when you have COVID, or even if you don't have COVID, just during this time in a pandemic, and then also just everything going on in the world, you really need to calm your mind and be still for a few moments throughout the day, or at least once a day. Take some time for yourself. So I would highly recommend meditation, and also I would recommend like meditation music. So for me, I started going to sleep to meditation music. There's a lot of different music frequencies. So, some frequencies, some people say that are related to healing, and they can help with healing. So for me, I would go to sleep to healing music. I forgot what frequency it was on, but I'll definitely leave it in the description box too, because that music is supposed to help with your body and your healing. And then also if you are into like chakras and stuff, different frequencies are attached to each chakra. So like if you wanted to do a heart chakra meditation to, have more love and compassion, things like that, you can do a meditation on this frequency using this type of music. So I would recommend, meditation music, going to sleep to it, or just meditating to it and using it to calm your mind, and then also to heal. And the very last thing I would recommend is prayer, of course. If you believe in a higher power, whatever you believe in, definitely prayer and positive affirmations, manifesting that you are going to get out of this, and you are going to recover, and that, things will get better. Even if you don't have COVID, just praying that things will get better, or hoping that things will get better in this world, because, COVID is not going anywhere anytime soon. And with the flu season coming up, cases are still on the rise. So, we have to deal with it, and we really got to take care of ourselves during this time. Some last things I would recommend for self-care would be journaling And then also just reading, you know, just things to stimulate your mind and just to relax. I love journaling so much. I do a lot of journaling and I follow a lot of journaling prompts just for like self-awareness, self-care, authenticity, just a lot of stuff. Like journaling is so relaxing and I highly recommend it. So if you want to journal, if you have a journal, definitely do that. If you don't have a journal, you can always do it in your phone too. But yeah, those are all the resources that I thought of. And like I said, I will leave everything that I talked about in the description box. I know that it's a lot. Leave a comment if anything else that you feel like I missed, or if you've had COVID or know someone who had COVID, please leave a comment and, you know, share your experiences if you like. And, you know, if you have any other resources that could be helpful that I didn't mention, you know, just leave a comment below and, you know, we can discuss it there. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful and informational. Definitely don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video.